Hello and welcome once again to another episode of the Scrumcast over at handcannononline.com, where our version of the meeting of the minds is what you see in front of you. With me as usual is the Brock of the podcast, Fraser Belfour, DeffHeadDice on all things social media. Welcome.
We're in trouble if I'm one of the minds. I'll tell you that right now.
Man, we've been in trouble this whole time. I'm frankly very, very surprised people listen to us still. Currently probably the most popular podcast on HandCannon because we're the only one who does it. All right, so we've got a super special guest this week, fresh off his trip to the Southern Ontario Open, which will be one of the key features of this particular podcast. Rich from Beermachine, welcome.
How's it going, folks? Thanks for having me. Always fun to talk trolls with fellow troll lovers, since seems to be kind of a rarity these days.
We're an important group, but small.
Man?
Yes.
Well, it's always nice to have a bald and bearded friend on the podcast, as usual. You know, this seems to be a staple of our.
I'm in the minority here, I guess.
Okay, hey, look. You need to get with the
luxurious. For those watching on Twitch, I've got luxurious hair.
We're gonna do like a donation thing for the next Battle of Breath, and if we get a certain donation level, Fraser has to shave his head.
I'm okay with this.
We'll talk.
Damn you! All right, Fraser, how much is it worth to you for charity?
It'd have to be a bit. It would have to. I'd have to check that with my wife as well to make sure. I'm not sure she wants me to be bald. So, and I'm concerned it would never grow back. That's the biggest part.
That's what happened to me, man. But you know what? I'm willing to take that risk.
Of course you are.
Alrighty, so let's get through the bookkeeping here. Social media.
Facebook, we're up to over 650 likes. Rich, how many likes does the Beermachine page have?
That's a good question. Hang on, I'm gonna look.
Okay, so just a little friendly rivalry here. And so we keep posting stuff, and we have actually some news that's related to our Facebook, but I'll wait to the news section because I wrote the show notes and I want to follow them. Twitter, I haven't touched Twitter in like months, so we do have a Twitter account, but we actually don't do anything with it.
Who needs Twitter?
Yeah. And if you're listening to this as the podcast, remember you can watch us live Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. Pacific on Twitch. And look for the link in the Facebook page. And the Battle Reporter, we slowly keep adding more little features. We're working with the PG Swiss guys. If you have any suggestions on how to improve the tool, let us know. If you aren't using the tool because you don't like it, tell us why so we can fix it. And that's it. Hey, in less than 2 minutes, too.
Ooh. Update, Beermachine has 722 likes.
Oh, we can overtake that.
Dang it. Okay, for those listening, make sure you like the Facebook page.
Tell all your friends to like it, even if they don't like War Machine. Have them do it anyway.
We can't let Beermachine win.
Right.
I think we already won.
It's an ongoing
institution. War Machine and Hordes. We should be more liked than anybody. We've been around longer. That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
We're a niche podcast. Let's show them that niche is better.
That's right. Just how niche we can be. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the news. Now, we wrapped up the logo contest 10 days ago, end of the month. We've got our fan favorite contest going on. And then we will meet with our super secret panel of Scrumcast judges to choose our favorite in the logos themselves. Fraser, you got any extra details for us?
No, on the Facebook we've posted all of them with the exception of 2 that I missed inadvertently. I wasn't trying to exclude anyone, but it was a case of me just not realizing they were there. So like all the ones that you like, and then the top 5 with the most likes will go on to round two. And we'll be able to pick that, and the fan favorite one will get some sort of prize. I don't think we've figured out what it is, but there's a clear person in the lead right now. But take a look at them. Rich, have you looked at our logos on the Facebook page?
Yeah, I was actually checking it out yesterday as I was stalking your page, and it's pretty cool. Yeah. Like, I mean, we lucked out and someone just gave us a good logo.
Yeah.
Scott Joseph is his name. But this is like having community involvement is really cool. You know,
yeah.
like CID.
Yeah.
Really
there we go.
cool.
And I think we've been impressed with everything that people have submitted. Some of the stuff is just gorgeous, and I think at this point, I think we're going to use most of them in one form or another. We were really impressed with what's been submitted.
Yeah, I'm liking nearly everything. God, our community is just so freaking great. People take the time out of their day to give us something cool, show how creative they can be, give back to some of the War Machine community, and you get these fantastic results here. Like, I can't complain at all. At the very least, those of you who donated, you're going to get your name said on the podcast with a big thumbs up from us when all is said and done to show our appreciation. So thank you very much for that. All right, so the big bombshell, though, is today, Privateer dropped their newest iteration of the CID. In it are some pretty big changes to the War Wagon. So I'm not prepared, and I didn't pull up the CID changes while I was thinking about it. So if anybody else has them up, we can go ahead and review them. Otherwise, I'm going to scroll through my news feed that
I happen to
Danny
have them
just
handy.
ruined by liking every single picture in the logo contest. All right, I got it here. All right, so we're looking at the Trollblood War Wagon. All right. So what we're doing is we're placing Bulldoze with crushing weight. When it charges, it does not need to move 3 inches to make impact attacks, and it's not limited to making impact attacks only once per turn. Wow, crazy. Okay, so then we're replacing heavy impact on the mount with ton of bricks. Models hit by a non-impact attacks with this weapon is slammed D3 directly away. The power of the collateral damage is equal to the power of the weapon. So what you've done is you've basically given the model like a wide and sweeping thresher ability, and then also given it a directed slam rather than a slam for all models. So what you still kept, however, was that Trampling Hooves still knocks models down. So even if tough models are hit and killed, they don't get to live in in your impacts there. So it's kind of crazy. And I have an opinion on this that's a little probably out there compared to the rest of you. But I want to go ahead and pitch it over to Rich. Rich, what do you think about the changes?
This is how do I say this? Ridiculously good. Okay, last week I made a list with 2 wagons in it. This week I almost wish I could make a list with 3 wagons in it. I was overjoyed about Bulldoze, and then you see crushing weight. And I guess I'll read it. Wait, crushing weight is the first one.
Yeah.
Why this matters. It says when it charges, this model is not required to move at least 3 inches to make impact attacks, which is normal for cavalry. Most cav needs to move 3 inches, or you don't get it. And you also would, of course, not get your charge bonus as well. It says this model is not limited to making impact attacks once per charge. I can't even say it with a straight face. This is so okay. So what does this mean? This means I'm going to hit something with line breaker, so 3d6 to hit. I'm going to make my impact attacks in the half circle, which is pretty big considering it's a 120 mil base plus half an inch all the way around. It's hitting at POW 14, and then we're rolling 2d6 on top of that. So anything that's arm 16 or less just dies, and we have to roll out the rest, and then it will continue to do it again. And that's where the second rule comes in. Ton of bricks. A model hit by a non-impact attack with this weapon is slammed D3 inches directly away from the model. The POW of the collateral damage is equal to the POW of this weapon. So you have your impact, then your impact, and then you hit whatever it is at the end, and it goes flying. I'm sold. What do you guys got?
Braze, I'll pitch it to you.
I was going to say, the ton of bricks, the slam is only against the targeted
Only
model,
against the
correct?
charge target, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, targeted model.
So theoretically, the issue is if you don't kill them, if you go up against, there's a guy in our meta who's playing like 5 or 6 units of Gatorman. So you don't kill that multi-box thing. It still stops, though, correct?
Yes.
Okay. No, it's ridiculous. Like I told Rich earlier today, it seems like we've got a better meat thresher than the meat thresher is at this point with the amount of damage this thing can do.
Oh, absolutely, especially with knockdown on everything.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, why don't they just tell you what? Week 4, Privateer, just give us the hat trick and give it trash.
Well, the other thing too is after you've done all that, because it can still fire a gun, it's going to throw that POW 16 blast and do a spray as well. So after it destroys you with just the charges, it still's got 2 guns to throw at you.
And then it has +2 to hit the thing that's already knocked down.
Seems pretty good.
Glory.
We've got another special guest on this week here. Our silent partner, our editor-in-chief, Mr. Danny Nelson. Danny, you there, buddy?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
What's up, guys? It's been a while.
The
Danny
prodigal
makes the
son
magic
returns.
Oh man, it's been a long time. It's been crazy on my end with work and school, but things are good. Things are good.
Awesome.
Excellent. I'm not going to put you on the spot about the War Wagon because it's only come out today, and we don't need you to, be scared away from this experience. We want you on more. But I'm going to go ahead and venture my opinion on this. I think that we're seeing some sort of dangerous power creep here with the way some of the models are being changed, specifically the Cotter Battle Wagon and the War Wagon itself. It's a little too good for what it costs right now, and it's a little too hard to deal with if you're not bringing multi-box units. And even if you are, it still can be too hard to deal with. I think that the model is just simply too good, and it's probably going to get changed. It's so good, in fact, that if it doesn't get changed by the end of the CID, and I'm just going to buy a second one because it's that good.
You and me both, buddy.
Yeah, it's that good, and I can't get around how hard it is to deal with.
I really like the rules. Maybe just bring the point cost up.
It's possible. I think, however, the play experience could start to be a little negative, even if the point cost is large. Because the point cost was large before, and the model was still pretty okay. It just didn't do sort of what they had it, envisioned it to do. But in its current iteration, you're literally not punished for entrenching your model and then committing your force. Like, they basically have to completely address the War Wagon or lose half of their fucking army to this one model. And it becomes very, very difficult for your opponent to deal with it and Stone Buff and the rest of your army at the same time.
Yep.
For what's effectively a heavy beast point cost.
Yep.
So I see this changing pretty quickly, and this is before even giving any feedback to some of my friends who work at the company that I think this is a little too good. I am, however, excited to talk about some list building possibilities, and I hinted about this earlier before in the preamble. Rich, you had put a list together, and I want to hear which Warlock was the one that you wanted to feature.
Yeah, this is people are gonna say what? Madrak 3.
Nope, I dig it.
Yeah. So the 3 lists we Masters at the Southern Ontario Open was 3 list, which number one I'm not a fan of already because I can barely fit everything on my tray as it is. But I decided, okay, what are we gonna do here? And my other 2 casters are Gunbjorn and Horgel 2, who I absolutely love. I love both of those casters. I've had some decent success with them. The Gunbjorn list, I've been told to be on the other end is hair-raising. So I said, okay, what can I do? I want to do something different. At Adepticon, I made this Madrak 3 list and proxied it, and proceeded to wreck Menoth John with it. We had a good game though. So it I wasn't sure where to begin with it really, and I tried a couple things just on paper and went from there. And this is, I'll give you the rundown of the list. In Madrak 3's battle group, we have an Impaler, a Bouncer, and a Mauler. Pretty simple, standard troll stuff. Then have a Fellcaller hero, a Champ hero, a full unit of Troll Champions with Scaldy Bonehammer, Sons of Brag, a full unit of Warders, a min unit of Warders, a min unit of Creelstone with the Stone Scribe Elder. So I'll tell you the downside first. It doesn't take a great advantage of Madrak's feat. It's kind of situational. I think in retrospect, maybe if I had been playing like a million Creel Warriors or a million Fenblades, I would have gotten more out of it. But I'll be honest, I wanted to play champs. That was it. So I said, you know what? Let's try it. So the list is engineered this way a little bit specifically to deal with the split scenarios, where you have either a circle on the left and a circle on the right, or zone left, zone right. It could probably deal with the flags too, though I didn't really get that much of a chance to play it that way. The way I run this is I have on one flank, and I'll say the right flank, I'll have the Sons of Brag, the Min Warders behind them, and the Fellcaller in the middle somewhere, roughly, and Madrak in the neighborhood. Then in the middle, I'll have the battle group, for the most part. And then on the left, I'll have the full unit of champs with Scaldy, the champ hero parked just behind them, and then right there also I'll have the full unit of Warders. So for those of you keeping score at home, that is 10 shield guards in the list. That makes some people not very happy on the approach. So the list moves up kind of independently, and I'll have the Creelstone toward the left, so it's within Madrak's range, but not that far. So it still covers the battle group, and it covers the full unit of champs and the Warders. And then the whole mess moves up, and the Fellcaller can give Pathfinder to either unit. The champs, of course, can charge and get Relentless Charge. Also, it is slightly more stalwart than you would think champs and Warders are. Unless you're my round one opponent in Masters and a random servitor gets a counter charge off and just erases the champ. It happened. So yeah, that's the rough theory behind it, and yeah, that's where we're at. What do you guys got for this?
Now, where would you put, like, because is that roughly what you'd bring with the War Wagon, or would you, like, what would you drop out of that list to put the War Wagon in, or you?
Nope, War Wagon's not even touching this list.
Okay.
War Wagon is going with Gunbjorn.
Okay.
And hang on, I'll bring that up.
So I think the question is what list you wanted to bring the War Wagon with.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Great stuff, but jumping a little ahead of on the agenda.
Yeah, a little bit here. Okay, so the Gunbjorn thing, and granted, this works with current point cost. It may change. I don't know. Is Gunbjorn with Dozer and Smig and a bomber. Pretty standard.
Yeah.
Two War Wagons. Braylon, a full unit of Highwaymen with a Sorcerer, a Creelstone, and with an Elder. And then for free, a Pummeler crew, a Thumper crew, and then another Thumper crew. I hear Matt over there like gagging.
Seems good.
Yeah. Of course the wagons just go What's crazy is like there isn't even a lot of like crazy synergy happening here. It's the wagons knock stuff down, and then the artillery hits it, and then they hit it. They hit it themselves too. That's really it. Like it's not rocket science.
No, it's just put a bunch of pie plates and knock stuff down and high explosive and yeah, seems pretty good. My current iteration is more of a scenario driven list with Jarl actually.
Ooh.
Yes. Hot swapping Quicken on war wagons seems pretty good.
Oh wow! So
Yeah.
speed 9 wagons.
Yes.
So wow.
Some serious scenario pressure. Not only that, but when you're speed 9 and you can charge 12 inches, that's a lot of impacts.
That's using
That's
it.
a lot of repeated impacts and
Yes.
oh
yes.
wow.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but you can save your feet to increase accuracy on all of the impacts too. So basically, nothing in a swath 5 inches wide and 12 inches long lives. You have unprecedented mobility between Tactical Supremacy and Quicken. You have great target model removal. So, like, if you have something that's kind of sticky that you can't get off of the War Wagon, you've got Jarl who can do it with Magic Bullet and with his own ranged attacks. So there's that part of the synergy there. Jarl himself is just a ranged threat all game. He's hard to kill. He's got good defensive tech. And then you just build your army around putting shit in front of him until he can't really affect the field well, or your war wagons can't do more work. And then you basically let your battle group finish the game off. And that could be, literally anything. You could do a completely non-ranged battle group at all. Or you could do a melee, or you can even do like a bomber, like a standard bomber, Earthborn Impaler, or buff spell or something like that, bomber mauler. It's a very hard to deal with combination when you've got that level of mobility, survivability. And then the stone obviously is pretty integral there. Like you could just flank one war wagon off, just leave Quicken on it over there, have the other one have tactical supremacy, see it reposition and tax supremacy. Seems pretty good.
It's crazy to even think about. Like I have my main war wagon going up the middle, and then I have my flanking war wagon like that doesn't have the buffs on it. The fast the fast one on the outside.
It's the throwaway.
Oh yeah, just runs just 18 inches up the freaking border. Just like, hey guys, I am way past the scenario turn 1. Would you like to deal with this model this turn or not?
It's hey, there's a bunch of ambushed whatever, but who cares? We're just gonna run them over and then keep going.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Like this stuff just ambushed your war wagon and didn't kill it. It's all dead.
Like that's cool. Whatever.
It's all dead, and then also I shoot guns. Like seems good. But I mean, you're still also dealing with a situation where under the stone you've got a model that might not die to a heavy. Like that's impactful in a game.
Yep.
Gives us something to think about. And then honestly, it might even give you a reason to take it outside of theme. I don't know, maybe the Tinker is a model for your slower war wagon to be effective. So like late game when it can be repaired, they don't have a lot of things that can deal with it. The war wagon just it's kind of like a mold. It runs the table at that point because it can't be killed and it kills everything.
Yep.
So
are there scenarios where the war wagon outpaces the stone, or is that pretty easy to mitigate?
The
base
one
size?
stone in that list, or the one war wagon in that list, probably just needs to operate in a world where it's never getting support from that model. To be honest, you could even just hot swap Quicken. Like once the war wagon's that far entrenched into the enemy's lines, it doesn't need a buff anymore. So you could totally just hot swap a Quicken onto your stone, so the stone can keep pace. But even now, like we have so few mobility issues with the stone because it can pop and run.
Yeah.
That 10 inches plus how many of Fury is usually not a problem. And then when you put it into a tier that allows you to, have upkeeps out or what have you, it can still be good. But I honestly think outside of tier is going to be best for at least for my list design. And maybe it'll outpace it. I'll have to put it on the table a little bit. But even in my fastest lists, I've never found an instance where the stone was just like completely not in the game because I didn't have a way to make it faster.
Yeah, it seems like, you probably engage somewhere in the middle of the table, and the with the large base size and the stone running, pop and run it, you probably shouldn't have too many issues.
And especially with pre-measure too, like you don't necessarily even need to threaten the board with your full run distance, right? You could run it, it's like 10, 12. You can even run it 10 or 12 and its gun's still going to be good. And then you can measure out beforehand where your model will be and where your stone order is going to be after that. So you can pretty precisely place like your models to still be in coordination with, you know, where your buffs are going to be.
Right.
And I found myself doing that a lot, especially with models like the War Wagon that can't be like outside of TK, can't be moved from where they are. So they're not going to be placed outside of that unless for some reason they are able to reach your back line and fucking move your stone, which is highly unlikely in most cases. The only time I've ever seen that be an issue is with like Mage Hunter Strike Force just all of a sudden like killed my stone, and I'm like, could probably tactically place that different, but even then it's very hard for them to get to a position to do that.
So the War Wagon usually had a spot with Gumbjorn, because him and Dozer and Smig are the ones that really kind of unlocked him a little bit. How does it compare now with the new rules in Dozer? Do they just break it open, or is there?
Oh yeah, his versatility is much better now. Now it's just not a weapons platform; it's a melee platform that also shoots and is highly accurate within a short range, but is still reasonable enough to take it as that melee or as that range platform. You're gonna see, God, if it stays, you're gonna see him in lists. Both Grims now want him like 100%. Like it's just too strong a tool not to have. Even Madrak, I mean Madrak 3 could take a War Wagon. Madrak 2 could take a War Wagon. Madrak 1 could take 2 War Wagons. 2 War Wagons shooting 4 pounders over the course of the game, not restricted to an aiming bonus, but because they have their 5-inch rule, they could just be like boom, 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 and just like freaking bomb the front line of your army.
Am I on Earth right now? We're talking about a War Wagon with Madrak, all of them.
Dude, Madrak. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw it. Flanzer immediately went out and he posted a list for Madrak 1, which is a shooty list in the new tier, where it's just all the guns shoot all the time with the feet and just like destroy your enemy. Might not be great, but it's still gonna be fun. I don't know. We're on like Cloud 9, and it's only one model. Like.
Hey, I just pulled up my Madrak 3 list to look at Madrak 3 spell card. Okay, Fortune on a War Wagon that's charging with multiple impact attacks.
Oh, jeez.
Like, really? And I get 3 dice each time? Okay. Like,
I mean, you literally don't miss. I mean, what's the actual percentage there? It starts to get dumb. Like, it's in the 80%. Like,
Fortune affects every single attack, right?
It says target friendly faction model / unit can re-roll its missed attack rolls. Each attack roll can be re-rolled only once as a result of Fortune. So
there's all the impact attacks, everything underneath the AoE. I guess it's just the first attack, not the AoE, right? And then the spray.
Yep.
But that's like how many fury is that? That's what 10 plus fury, depending on how you engage it.
And then I'm gonna re-roll the big gunshot. I'm gonna re-roll the sprays, and I'm gonna re-roll the charge attack when I eventually get there.
Oh man!
The charge attack's still +2 because it's a cavalry model.
No, boosted. No.
Oh, that's right. It's boosted. Come on,
Yeah.
you do it. Okay, right. Now think about this all in the context of a Doomshaper 1 list, where once you've committed the War Wagon, he can't commit his heavy pieces to killing it without doing grievous damage to the things that want to be alive after that turn. Like, that's kind of dumb. Also, oh my god, also you could totally have it early on that model and then hot swap Banishing Ward on it and just be like, no. No spells on this guy.
It's actually important though, because if that thing gets rebuked, that'd be bad news.
Yeah, exactly.
So
who has rebuke? Like 2 casters have rebuke now, right?
Madrak 3 is one of them.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, like two casters have rebuke. That's it. I'm not super worried about that. There's other things I'm worried about, but yeah, we are in an exciting time for War Wagon list design. And I mean, I've long enjoyed using the battle engine, and now this is just an even greater excuse to play it. I don't know that, like I said, I don't know that it's going to make it through CID the way that it is now, but here's hoping.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, I strongly question if it will, but at the same time, and I don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to put down the faction, but I think trolls could use a little bit of a push.
We could deal with something that's a little broken. Yeah, I can endorse
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And this war wagon, this CID war wagon, in my current Gunbjorn list with Dozer and Smig, and then Dooney and Not, and like all of these things start stacking, which that's the trolls I grew up with, is stacking a bunch of buffs and then wrecking house. So
let's talk about how crazy Puppet Strings is on that model too for a second.
I cannot endorse this enough. Like it's
dumb. It's like, let's see. I'm highly accurate with nearly all of my attacks except for my oh, I have Puppet Strings. Now all of a sudden I'm even more accurate.
Oh yeah.
And oh god. Or if you just like you manage to hit a good pounder and you just want to spike that damage roll, like it's kind of crazy how good it's going to be. Or, I mean, you could just spike a blast damage roll. You're like, that's not good enough. Let's see if we can kill that model, spike a blast damage roll. Just pop something.
That's the only thing I don't like about the theme, the shooty troll theme, is that I can't put Dooney and Not.
No Dooney Not in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why we need to look at Fortune as a really good Band-Aid for that in particular. Grim 2 is going to be really, really good with the War Wagon. Mortality, defeat, like, what are you gonna do? Like, Grim's just like, hey, I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna literally kill anything that I want to, and you can't stop me. Which is usually gonna be the one thing that's gonna be like in threat range of him. So be like, see that heavy? No, you don't see that heavy anymore. See that unit? You don't see that unit anymore. Like he gives no fucks, and then he repositions, and it's like, job well done, boys. It's going to be really good. Grim 2 is going to see some work with this new section here. Yep. He's going to see some work with that theme list. Oh, God, that theme list.
I think Calandra
Sluggers with Grim 2 under that theme. And the artillery. Oh, my God. It's going to be pretty dumb.
Well,
Grim just literally... I think Grim can shoot a heavy off the table with a full unit of Slugger's mortality. I think he can just, like, spend that fury and just heavy goes away. That's not even including the War Wagon. It's just dumb. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our second section here, as we've rambled on a little bit too much. I'm not going to complain about the War Wagon. All right, this is the part where I shut up because the two of you had a fucking amazing weekend over at the Southern Ontario Open. I got to listen to a bit of it. Not to plug too many other podcasts, but on the Muse on Minis network, there is a meeting of the minds that I sort of talked about at the beginning of the podcast here, where several podcasts got together, sort of talked about the state of the game. And I'll let Fraser talk a little more about that later, but let's go ahead and start with Rich. We got a little bit of an idea of his lists from the section where he rambled about something we didn't actually ask him to talk about earlier.
Thanks.
Rich, go ahead and give us your other two lists there and give us a quick rundown of what's going on.
Sure. So I mentioned my three casters, Gunny, Horgel, and Madrak 3. The Horgel list is Horgel's is Horgel with 2 Pyre Trolls, a Bomber, and a Bouncer. And literally the Bouncer's there for just shield guard, but whatever. Horthel, the Long Rider. Yeah, I have Horthel and Horgel in one list. It confuses the shit out of people, just the names. A Fellcaller, Creelstone, an Elder, and a full unit of Long Riders, and then another full unit of Long Riders. And people think I'm a little crazy for this, and don't get me wrong, I didn't go out and buy them for this. I had a second unit left over from Mark II. It's a lot of fun. People, I'll be very honest, people panic when they see 2 units of Long Riders.
It's a little intimidating.
Yeah. It slams everything all the time. There was a bit of an issue. I think it was I was playing on Sunday where I had Daughters of the Flame ambush and kind of gum up the Long Riders. There was a bit of a problem. And I was going to cast I mentioned the pre-ramble, Consuming Flames with Horgle to free them up until I realized it was under Malicus's feat turn, which would have done 3d6 damage to my Long Riders, which is not okay.
No, not at all.
I think I'm missing a champ hero. I think that was a different iteration of the list. He was in there just like as free stuff. Oh yeah, because why? Because it's Band of Heroes, of course. Extra 2 inches with Cav.
Yes, yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. The problem is the feat isn't really hugely capitalized on. I kind of use the feat as a spot removal kind of thing. The downside are 2 models I've had to deal with repeatedly. Azrael is 1 because he's immune to fire. I played Doug Hamilton at Adepticon, and I played this list versus his Callus 2 list with Azrael, and it's like neither of us had a feat. Dealing with the list kind of relies on the feat to deal with heavies. The other issue I had was against Malicus, or not Malicus. I shouldn't say Malicus. Anyone in Protectorate running the Eye of Truth, because Eye of Truth is immune to fire.
Of course.
It's a huge problem. Outside of that, the list plays into Protectorate like a champ. They go, I'm going to shoot blah, 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 blah. And okay, cool. Well, the middle section of the board's immune to fire, so have fun. It's a lot of fun. Horgle's, I think, a better caster than a lot of people give credit to. I'm not saying he's great or a game by any means, but Firestarter is great for dealing with support models on the bomber. And I put what I'll do is either I'll put Inviolable Resolve on one unit of Tuffaloes and have the stone near the other unit, or if it kind of lends itself to it, I'll stack both on one unit. So we'll have Arm 21 Tuffaloes, which is great.
That's fantastic, yeah.
And late game, we start using things like Solid Ground. So I keep getting the tough rolls, just like in the Mark II days. Mm-hmm. And people try shenanigans, and, well, I'm not knocked down. I can keep rolling tough. And it just keeps happening.
Now, did you find...
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you. What do you got?
So did you find... You don't have a Rune Bearer in there, so how do you find... my biggest issue with Horgle is that he's Fury Starved half the time.
He is. And my second iteration of the list ditched one of the Pyre Trolls for the Rune Bearer, and it also ditched the Champ Hero because the Champ Hero was free.
Okay.
You lose the theme bonus, but you get to chuck Consuming Flames twice.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah.
See, I brought my 3 lists. Horgo was one of them. Horgo was my fun list. I talked about this last couple casts where it's Horgo with a bomber and a mauler, the full unit of Creel, full unit of Scattergunners, 2 units of Fire Eaters, and I think there's a bit of support in there as well. And it was my sprays for days list, so the same idea. But I didn't. I did keep him within. No, I didn't keep him within because he's got Fire Eaters. But I was just having fun, so I didn't. I think I have a Min Stone in there as well, but I didn't bring a Rune Bear, and I found it was a challenge to keep the stone full, or to even have enough on the stone. But it was just a fun list, so I wasn't too concerned about that. My other 2 lists were at a Gristle 2, which was I stole from the guy that does the World of Creel blog over in the UK, which is Earthborn, Mauler, Bomber, full Fenblade, Fellcaller, Chronicler, Minstone with UA, and I think there's something else, but it's Bands of Heroes, and I've had luck with that list before, and that was my other list was a Doomy 2 list, which is just basically a big beast brick.
It sounds good.
Oh, yeah. They were.
I used to run Fire Eaters with it. My first, like the 1.0 version of the list, I had Fire Eaters, and I also had Croak Raiders in there.
Yes.
And they're good. They're good models. It wasn't doing enough.
Yeah, that's been my experience. So just when we go into how was your, because did you do Iron Gauntlet as well, or did you just do Masters?
No, I just did Masters.
So why don't you walk us through the highlights from your Master run on the Saturday?
Well, I played one round, and I was going to continue if I kept winning, but I kind of told myself, like, look, if I win the first game, sure, I'll keep going. But otherwise, I want to go have fun. You know, I can get more games in. I can do more stuff if I'm not doing this. And to be completely honest, my kind of bread and butter faction is Retribution. And once all the ret stuff dropped, I said, well, I mean, I'm still going to do Masters, but you know, they're going to hit the shelf afterwards because I got to start practicing the new stuff. So I bring all my lists down, and I turn in my sheet, and I'm waiting. And round one, I get paired up against WTC superstar David Beauchamp.
Come on, an easy. It's almost like a bye.
Yeah, it's almost like a bye. Now, I've played Dave before, and I played him when he was playing EE at the SOO. It was either last year or year before. It may have been the year before. And it wasn't even a contest. It was, I mean, I pushed models around, but that was about it. This time, though, he was playing Convergence. And he was playing an Iron Mother theme list. And I thought, well, let's see. There's roughly 20 shield guards on his side. So I think Gunny's kind of out for this. I could run Horgle. It's an idea. Though I'm not positive if I can kill a Prime Axiom. It's kind of questionable. So what do we do? Well, I want to run Madrak. What the hell? So I run Madrak. I don't even know where to begin with this. I'm very happy with my performance in that game. I didn't win. I learned a lot. And the fact that I made an amazing player, and Dave is a great guy too, on top of it, if you ever meet him. We were actually joking last year, the verb, or it'd be an adverb, I guess, getting Beauchamped is losing really bad, but the fact that your opponent is so cool that you're okay with it. Dave's a great guy. The Iron Mother list is rough, and having all of these servitors and a bunch of them have countercharge and they all have shield guard, it's hard. It's hard to deal with. Mm-hmm. I played Madrak because it was a split scenario and it lended itself to it. Boring before he did. And I was up 4-3 with about a minute and a half to go on his clock, and I had about 10. And it's one of those games you're playing, and there's a crowd of people watching this because it's getting really intense, and Dave is literally sweating on the table. And my Sons of Brag are holding the Prime Axiom where it is, and they every time fell call, so they still get tough when they're knocked down. Mm-hmm. And I keep rolling it. And in the front of my zone, I forget the name of it. It's the one where the rectangles are like this.
Okay, yeah.
And the objectives are in the middle. I have a line of at first I had the Sons of Brag like this and the warders behind, and then when they had to kind of sacrifice themselves to hold the Prime Axiom there, the warders move up.
Okay.
and then the water's slightly spread out. And he had if you're looking at it top down, he had a servitor come down like this into my zone. I move Madrak over, and he boosts and smacks one out of the sky, and he reloads, and he hits the other one out of the sky. And then I score that turn. And it's on the left-hand side, it was basically a lost cause.
Mm-hmm.
It was me spending multiple turns running stuff into the zone so he could kill it.
Okay.
But hey, that's sometimes, you know what? That's what it is. The champs did a decent job. The only time I was not very happy is it Reflex Servitor? I don't know which one. The spiky ones. It countercharged and killed a champ. Just dead.
Oh, wow.
I kind of have a problem with that, but hey, dice spike, I guess. I don't know. They did fantastic. I think positioning is a very big deal, like more than we realize. And I charged the objective in such a way where it ended the charge so it was not in line of sight of the Reflex Servitor.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't, it would have just countercharged and killed him. And I think as troll players, like it's probably more important to us than a lot of people because we have medium bases all over the place.
Agreed.
And I ended up losing because eventually he got the Primaxium into the zone, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Makes sense.
I pulled a Hail Mary, and 3 Warders, a Sons of Bragg, and Madrak all charged the Primaxium, and they couldn't bring it down. But over the course of 2 turns, Tor did about a third of the boxes on the Primaxium.
Well, it's good to see the Sons of Bragg being brought out because everyone talks about how no one plays them, so it's good to see that the people are trying other things.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Those models are amazing. They're incredible. They have 8 boxes. Do you not people not realize this?
Comparatively, they're a shade of their former selves, however.
Oh, totally.
I think that's the problem in perception here is that, they don't play them because they think they're, not as good. Sons of Bragg used to be my favorite character unit. I used them all the time. And now they're not the same. And I honestly don't think they needed to be changed like that. The way they were was perfectly fine. And nobody used them back then either. I don't get the reasoning behind the change.
Yeah, I don't either. So we finished the game. Dave shook my hand. I talked to him after, and I kind of think that may have been the best game of War Machine I've played, to be honest. I was kind of beside myself, and I said, that scene in Anchorman where he's on the podium and he gives the speech and he feels like out of breath after because he used a bunch of complex words. That's how I felt after that game. Dave ended up making it, I want to say first round finals, I think.
I think he did.
Yeah, I think it was first round finals he got knocked out. So great game. Holy crap, great game.
Fantastic.
And played a bunch of casual games besides that. So what do you got, Fraser? Did you do Masters?
I did do Masters. I played my first game. I waited until my first win to drop out rather than waiting for my first loss to drop out. I made it through 3 rounds. My first round opponent was someone who only plays on occasion and was playing a list he wasn't too familiar with. So I said, this is a great opportunity because I know I'm not going into the final rounds in Masters. So I said, I'll play my fun list. So I played my fun list and proved that I am a bad scenario player. So it was Entrenched was the first scenario that we played, the one with the staggered zones.
That's right. Yeah.
And I just completely missed the fact that I was giving him points on the one for him holding his one zone, and by that point I didn't have enough time to get anything in there on a regular basis. So I basically gave him the game for me being a horrible scenario player. But it was a fun time, so it was a great opponent. My second game, and that was I dropped my horrible list. My second game, I dropped my Gristle 2 into Rhett. Was doing okay, but then he wound up getting too close to Gristle and was able to. No, I lost that one in scenario as well. But I was playing more to the scenario that time. It just didn't work. He was able to take out a number of the beasts. I left him in a couple bad places. So, and then my third game was against Kador with was it Irisk? I think it was Irisk with like 5 or 6 jacks and a whole bunch of Winter Guard with grenades. And I dropped Gristle into that one as well. And actually, I did surprisingly well. It was a combination of me just good positioning and him basically spending too much time trying to take out all the stuff I had on the table. He was really scared about the Fen Blades and didn't want to trigger Vengeance, so he was very cautious about that. And basically let me move my stuff around and spent a lot of time trying to, and I spaced everything really well so that he could only take out 1 or 2 pieces at a time, and just he wound up clocking himself. So it was a fun game. And then I got in a game with Will from the MooseMachineNetwork, who I said, let's play our fun list. So I brought my fun Horgel 2 list, and he brought some nasty mercenaries thing with a colossal that just basically shot all my stuff up before I got a chance to get it into his face. So, but it's still a good game. And then we wound up doing our State of the Game podcast, which we mentioned at the beginning of the show. So that was actually something that the Moose Machine guys had come up with, and it was a fairly. I think it's the first time we've had everyone all together like that as well. So if you haven't listened to it yet, it's I think actually, Danny, I think we were putting it up on our stream as well, were we not? So if you don't have to go to the competition, you can actually listen to it on ours.
Yeah, I'll get it up soon. I've already uploaded. I've just got to get the post together and publish it.
Perfect. So it had, I think, about 10 podcasters. So it was the Rich from Beermachine, Will from This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes, Mark, Daryl, and Nick from Combo Smite. You had Greg from the Party Foul site. You had Tim Banky from Arcane Assist. I was there. And then there was the gentleman from the French podcast out of Quebec. So it was interesting. We covered how we thought the Mark III was launched. Some of the issues that people have talked about. We talked about CID. We talked about the whole proxy gate, as it's being referred to, I think. And it's a good listen. So if you haven't listened to it yet, take a listen to it. I'm hoping we do it again next year, because I think it was a really good thing to have, and there was plenty of beer and no fisticuffs, so it was a win-win.
I was really happy with how that came out, and I know I checked it earlier today, and it's been 48 hours and it's already been downloaded 1,300 times.
Oh, wow.
So I'd say it's doing pretty good. We had some great people on that and great subject matter. And it's fun, like to be able to interact with people who are used to like kind of spouting their minds off, but with other people who maybe don't know their opinions. Yep. You know, I hope we do that every year.
Yep,
absolutely.
We should just do it every con. Like, let's just get everybody together and talk about the game. That's what I say. Yep.
Yeah, no, totally, absolutely.
And we all know now that you can listen
to other podcasts. I'm gonna be a lock and load. Let's do this.
I don't think either of us are making, but we do know the biggest thing I took away from that podcast is that we can watch Meneth John at 7:00 Central Time on Sundays on Twitch. There you go, John. We gave you a freebie.
Oh man! All right, that was so good. And on that bombshell, this has been the Scrumcast signing off.
You know, John's never going to hear that.
Oh, you will, because I'll make him.
He doesn't listen to the Scrum.
He's been in the live stream. He's watched us.
Yeah, he's agreed to come on for an episode, because we figured we'd bring him on, because he's I guess now we've been doing it longer than he has, because he talks about being the original podcast. So I think we may.
No, he's way. He was on Lost Hemisphere for probably 2 or 3 years before we started.
But did he go solo before that?
He went solo after. We started podcasting probably, I'd say 6 months before Lost Hemisphere went off the air. And even then, it took him a while to get started on his Twitch and podcast thing.
Yeah.
It probably took him almost 6 months before.
So I do have a follow-up question. I don't know if you want to splice this in before the ending, but so Rich, you've been to Lock and Load, you've been to Adepticon, you've been to the SOO number of times. If you had to pick one convention, which would be your favorite, like that you've gone to?
Oh, the SOO, hands down.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I know that sounds biased because I'm within driving range of it, but it's not the case. The price is better than everything. The rooms are better. The location is better. Mm-hmm. The people are better. The fact that you can get food in, like, if you're competing in Masters and like there's no break, you guys know how this works with the big tournaments. Like there's no break for lunch. You can finish your game and go grab something to eat and come back within 10 minutes max.
Yep.
I can't say enough about it. If I'm not going to anything else, like during a year, I'm going to the SOO. Like no questions asked.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious because I know that a lot of people. I mean, we all gush about how much fun we had, and like for me, it's as much as the social piece. Like getting the games in or going to Masters is fine, but being able to actually see, like, finally meet the Moose Machine guys in person, other than George and Will. Actually, I guess it's just meeting Jason for the first time, who's far taller than I thought he was. Looking at him on his stream, it's weird. I always thought he was about was like about 5'10" or 5'11". The guy's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, I didn't realize that either, that he was that tall.
Yeah, so little things. But I mean, it's just but it's nice. It was nice to see some of the bigger guys show up, like Tom Guan was there, JVM was there. There's a few of those guys, which is interesting to see. And primarily, a lot of them are saying it's because it's so much cheaper. It's like a convention at 30% off for you?
Oh yeah, it is. And we had 3 people in our room. Just 3, mm-hmm. And we were there Friday night and Saturday night, and we drove back to Buffalo on Sunday. And I do the room rate. We had another room, also with 3 people in it. The other guys from my podcast.
Yeah.
And we take the total of the rooms divided by 6 people over the 2 days, and then we factor in the conversion rate, and it comes to $76 a person for the weekend.
Wow.
And Menoth John says to me, he goes, "Wait, you mean like for the whole thing?" And I said, "Yes, for the whole thing. That's it." He said it is absolutely the cheapest con he's ever been to.
Well, and did he have to fly in? Probably not.
Oh no, he did fly, but he had points already because he travels for work. But
my biggest thing, like, I live in Seattle, which is one of the fucking most expensive places to fly out of.
Yeah, SeaTac doesn't screw around.
No, man. So trying to go to anywhere that's not close is really rough. Anywhere I can't drive to, anywhere I can't like fly less than 2 hours to. I mean, I'm on the hook for $500 for a plane ticket, no matter what. If I'm trying to fly international, fucking forget that. Like.
Well, the cheapest thing for you would be fly up to Vancouver and fly right into Waterloo, which is there's a jump spot right into a little airport right by us. So
you say the cheapest, but that does not.
Yes.
I'll probably pay the round trip price to come back, and it'll still cost me $400 just to get into Canada and back.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm trying to help.
Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, if I fly to California, I can't get on a plane for less than $400.
Wow.
Round trip. Like, yeah, it's unreal. So, you figure we produce enough fucking planes in this state that it wouldn't be a problem to get us a reasonable airfare. But no, we should have a few more fucking casinos, and maybe then it'll work.
Someone get on the horn with Boeing right now.
Serious, man. Boeing, stop with your airplanes. Make slot machines. Let's get this shit working.
So on that note, I'm stopping the recording. So we're gonna at least the video recording. So thank you for watching, everyone.